So mostly famous for writing books. Also member of Webpack core team. And this is really slow to use, but anyway, there are some books and the representation. So the plan was to go, so that I provide some background on Webpack. How many actually use Webpack or know Webpack? Yeah, so I don't have to explain that much, thanks. Then related solutions. What people use to avoid using Webpack. Then about techniques. So this is the part where I'm supposed to live code, so we'll see. And something about universal apps. Most likely I'll skip that. Brief history. So 2012 March, Tobias made a pull request. And this is super slow. And what happened is that nothing happened. So it hasn't gone through yet. So for this reason, we have Webpack, because there's this pull request waiting. So he wanted to implement code splitting for a bundler. And it never went anywhere. And he needed a bundler with code splitting. So he started to write Webpack. It's simple as that. 2013, people started finding Webpack and so on. There was this React loader, and it was a kind of revolutionary thing at the time because it made developing React so much easier. 2014 February, we got Webpack 1. It got noticed by Pete Hunt of Instagram. So when you get a big name using your library or your tool, it gets popular fast. So 10 July, about a year ago, we established a core team. So it was like 4 or 5 members, and now it's a bit more, because we realized that having only one person behind Webpack isn't enough. Then we said in October, a year ago, we set up Open Collective. Just come on. These days, it's we have some funding, so it's roughly 400,000 per year, because this doesn't solve everything. So now we have money enough to have Tobias full-time on Webpack, and for some other development as well. Then 2017 January, we got Webpack 2. So this year, it improved the configuration API. We got new functionality as well. But then Open Collective, it grew and grew, and I got the paper book out. You can actually find the book and the whole presentation, whole content online. I'll just show you. So there's this book, and there's online version, and there's a digital version, and there's a Kindle version as well. What I did, it was like 450 pages, so I threw 90 pages away and made it a little slimmer, so now it's a little easier to get into. This is really painful to use, sorry for that. So there's the book and Amazon version, and there's a new maintenance book. So when I simplified the book, I wrote a new book with Artem. So that's something you can check out later. But back to the presentation. So this June we got Webpack 3. Again, more features, and it's faster. And currently we are writing Webpack 4. So we will get support for, because now it supports only JavaScript out of the box. So we'll get support for CSS and so on, and WebAssembly, of course. And now things are looking quite good. So we have enough funding to keep things going. About related solutions, what people use to avoid using Webpack, or how they deal with Webpack. So the Webpack blogs, it's something that happened because Andy from Germany read the book. So he liked the approach, because in the book I composed the configuration in a specific way. So he took the idea and ran with the idea. So that's how we ended up with Webpack blogs. I'll show you. Because normally Webpack configuration is quite verbose. And the point here is that maybe it doesn't have to be so verbose. So instead of writing tons of configuration, we could write something like this. So he exposes a lot of configuration using these packages. And the composition itself is based on my tool, Webpack merge. The point of Webpack merge was just that, to make it possible to compose configuration on smaller parts. And all I did was to change the way default merge works. So instead of overriding arrays, it concatenates them, and otherwise it's just like a standard merge operator. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of other functionality as well, but you can check this out later. If you have complex Webpack configuration and you want to share some code between different targets, this might be it. Yeah. Just getting the first step. This is super slow to use. Then there's Neutrino by Eli Perelman of Mozilla. It's abstraction over configuration, so I won't dig into that. You can read about this later. And then we have this famous one, Create React App. We also have something for Angular, of course. And the point is that these solutions, they use Webpack inside, but you don't have to worry about it. You just use the abstraction. But the problems begin once you have to eject. Because once you eject, then you get the configuration, and now you have to learn Webpack. So you cannot it's difficult to avoid learning Webpack at some point. When it comes to Create React App, there's something in between. React App Rewired is a solution that allows you to use Create React App scripts without ejecting, while making it possible to customize. So you can have the thing, and then you can have your own customizations on top of that. It's kind of compromise. And WB, it's less famous than Create React App, but another similar solution. And then we have Kit, which provides. I have to show the image once it gets there. So this solution, it integrates Webpack, style-lint, Babel, ES-lint, Jest, multiple things, and it has some opinions on client and server as well. So these kind of things, they keep coming. But yeah, I guess I'll just start coding because it's getting boring to talk so much. So I'll show you what I have here. So I have this simple project. Let's start it. It's 8080. So if someone went through my first book or the React book, you might recognize this. So it's the kind of an application of the book. This is the Redux implementation. So it doesn't do that much. It just, it's Kanban. So, but the point is that I want to optimize this, and also the current configuration first. Yeah, it's all right. Here we go. So we have some path configuration, then we have point to the app through entry, then some resolve. So we tell Webpack that yeah, JSX is fine, you can import without JSX extension. Then we tell Webpack to output into some directory. Then we apply Babel lore against JS and JSX files. Then we set up HTML Webpack plugin. Then we have developer configuration and production configuration. So in both cases we do different things. But it's not very optimized yet. So because if you look at the build, if we build this, we see that it's quite big. So app is 1.5 megabytes, which is it's huge. So what I'll do next, I'll do a series of changes, and you can follow, and most likely apply some of this against your application, or at least understand better what's going on when people optimize. So I just have to get to the tab. So the first step is to get statistics. So for this reason, we have JSON flag. So this means that once you pass JSON flag to Webpack, it's going to give a really big JSON file. And I'll just hook this up and show a couple of tools. It's super slow. Sorry. It's just the mouse keeps lagging, so it's difficult to use. Here we go. You can get to the book from the slides, so if there's something you want to know more about, that's the way to do it. So let's pick up the script. So here, I'll just plug it here. So now I have a separate target for generating stats. And npm run build stats. So if you look, we have a separate file here. It's a lot of JSON, but it doesn't make sense yet. So we have to use a specific tool for that. So I might as well use Webpack Visualizer. There are maybe at least 10 tools you can check out. So now we can provide the JSON file here, and just and it's here. So now we have this pie chart, and if we dig in, we can see that the node module takes most of the space, and the application itself is quite small. But there's a lot of work to do, so we can apply a couple of transformations over the application itself and the models. So that we can do that next. As a first step, we could apply define plugin. So the point is that we can replace any free variable. So in this case, process.env.notenv can be considered free. And if you replace it with development, this evaluates as true. So then we get this console log. Otherwise, it will evaluate as false. It won't end up in the build. So I'll set this up so that when we build, it's going to set up as production. So just super slow to here. I will just plug it in here. And this and that. So if you build now, I mean, this is the first trick you learn with React. Instead of 1.5, it should be a little less. It's about half a megabyte. And why is this? It's because React, it implements this development-specific blocks. And once we compile it in production mode, it drops the blocks. And the point is that you can use the IDEA to implement feature flags, for instance. So if you want some feature, to be enabled or disabled based on the flag state. You can use the same plugin for that. Another nice step, minification. We can rewrite the code in such a way that it has the same meaning, but it's a lot smaller. So again, lots of options. But I think I will apply Uglify this time around. You can use the same idea with images and fonts and CSS and so on. So I'll just do this setup.
We have just, sorry for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I have 5 minutes here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, this is going to be like, yeah, I won't be able to do much. Let's minify this and wrap it up. Yeah, I mean, this is the most important thing, correct? So let's just. It's so slow. Just going to pick this up. Here. So just to it's there, and let's just build it and finish the session. So, I mean, of course there's more to do. You go to separate the bundles. You could use bundle splitting using the common chunk plugin. So now you see now it's 231. And instead of trying to code, because this doesn't really work, I will show the rest of the ideas, and you can find so much more in the book. But I have to just gather a tab. So bundle splitting. I'll explain the ideas. I won't code because I have 3 minutes. So we have one big bundle. It might be nice to have like one bundle for application logic, one bundle for vendor logic. So we separate in two. We apply hash to the file name, and common chunk plugin can do this. There are more plugins. If you want more separate chunks, we can do that. But this is the basic idea. So we have app and vendor. And how to tell this apart? Vendor, these are in node modules. So in terms of Webpack configuration, we could apply common chunk plugin in such a way that we have this min chunks parameter, and for it we give a function, and this function is executed against each module. And there we have access to the path, and we can perform this check: is the path in node? Does it contain node modules or not? If it contains, it should go to the vendor bundle, and that's it. We also get access to a count, which is the amount of, the count of usage based on usage. So if you want, we can separate certain modules based on usage. We can also separate the manifest, so we can have another. This comes with this is important with hashing. It's explained in the book in detail. Code splitting, this is one of the fundamental features. So now we, instead of having that app and vendor, we will load code only as we need it. So for this reason, we have import syntax. So this is something almost standard feature. It's stage 3. It takes some. Again, if you use Babel, then you have to use certain plugin to make Babel support this. But essentially, you have import that returns a promise, and it can fail or go through. And after that, you have access to the model. Then yeah, so then you get these separate bundles that contain the code. I'll skip this topic, but essentially there is a new technique that allows you to do code splitting and server-side rendering at once. But so because in the past it was really hard to do these things together, but not anymore. So we have what we call universal rendering, but it's another approach. You have to understand the server side and the client side. But we get HMR and all that with this universal approach. You can check the demonstration of this later. And there's the book. I want to just mention a couple of things. We're running a little bundle for a couple of days, so you can get tons of content for $99. You can take it out later, bestjavascript.io. We also have 2 events in Finland, NG Vikings, which is early March, and React Finland, which is late April. So if you want to visit our nice country, which is not as warm as yours, you can do that next year. But yeah, so I didn't have much of time, and computer sucked for some reason. It's a new Mac, so you know. But thanks for the invite, and I think we have time to discuss. I'll be here for 1 hour or so. Yeah.